Have you ever imagined what happens to candidates who fail all their subjects in the West Africa Senior School examination after years of second cycle education? What about the reaction that greets them when they show the result slips to their parents or guardians who expect nothing less than good grades? In the following report, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin tells the story of some students of the Boko Secondary School who performed terribly in their final examinations way back in 2003. He finds out what they did differently to turn around the otherwise grim future into a professional course. Well, we'll have to bring you that story. But in the meantime also, we have to continue with a lot more as former Northern Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Apanga Paul Asamanaba, has blamed the falling standards of education on the category of teachers posted to teach at early childhood centers across Ghana. He says most of these teachers posted to teach at the kindergartens are not only jaded, but absent-minded and are also unable to lay proper foundation in the education of the children. He noted for Ghana to achieve quality education, it needs to have a serious look at the way education is handled at the lower levels of the ladder. Paul Apanga made the statement at the Regional Delegates Congress of the Upper West Branch of the Ghana National Association of Teachers in Wa. JoyNews correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The three-day Quadrennial Delegates Conference of the Upper West Branch of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, NAT, is being held on the theme, Transforming Societies Through Education, the role of stakeholders in achieving SDG 4 in the Upper West region. The conference brought together delegates from all 11 municipal and districts in the region to deliberate on issues affecting the organization and the teaching profession with a view to finding solutions to them. Speaking on the theme of the conference, retired educationist and former Northern Regional Director of the Ghana Education Service, Apanga Paul Asamanaba, noted that for Ghana to achieve quality education, it needs to take serious look at the issue of early childhood education. Juxtaposing figures of primary schools in the Upper West region with those that are without kindergartens, Apanga Paul painted a gloomy picture for the region if adequate steps are not taken to correct the deficit.
The three districts have to work very hard. Wa East has 72 primary schools and only 61 kg. That means that 11 primary schools do not have provision for the early childhood education. Why is this so? Wa Municipal, 84 primary schools and only 69 kindergarten schools, KG 1 and 2. That means there are 15 primary schools that do not have this early childhood education. It means we are violating the act which His Excellency former President Kufuor appended his signature to. That is the Education Act 778. Then the third district, they even have the highest. Wa West, we have 102 primary schools and only 92 kindergarten schools.
He also expressed concern over the category of teachers posted to teach at kindergartens, most of whom are not only jaded but senile.
You do not put teachers like my type, very old and weak, have never opened a book for the past 6 months. Drink has taken over the whole body. He doesn't remember any methodology. And you say, go and teach in KG 1, KG 2. If I don't have the strength, how can I go and be dancing with KG 1 and KG 2? Because that's what they say. He's weak, he's old, he doesn't know anything. Let him go there.
Deputy Upper West Regional Minister Amidu Chinia Isaku also expressed worry over the mass failure of candidates at the Basic Education Certificate Examination, BCE.
In 2011, for instance, the region recorded 47.5% in the BEC, which declined to 46.1% in 2012 and further dropped to 36.03% in 2013. Again, the results further declined to 28.81% in 2014, and in the year 2015, we had 28.87%. I am, however, informed that we recorded 30.48% in 2016, which is a marginal improvement in 2016 results. This is quite worrying and disheartening.
The Upper West Regional Council of NAT climaxed the event by doling out 3,300 Ghana cedis to 11 selected females from some senior high schools in the region as their school fees. The gesture, according to the Upper West NAT, will cushion the students whom they describe as poor but brilliant in their studies. Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam.
And residents along the route for the proposed Tema-Akosombo rail line have vowed to resist any attempt to destroy their properties to make way for the project. The development of the railway sector was one of the key campaign promises of the NPP government, but it appears the residents' resistance could prove a challenge. JoyNews' Jennifer Kriamwa has more on the subject.
This is the Tema-Akosombo rail line stretch. There are many communities along it. They include Sebrepo, Free Zone, and Saki. These communities are densely populated with numerous houses, churches, businesses, schools, and hospitals dotted on the stretch. Jonathan Ajah is a businessman who has raised his family at Sebrepo for over 10 years. But their lives and that of their neighbors will change drastically when construction for the proposed Tema-Akosombo railway line begins in October.
We made our way to see the district administration, and they told us that they have no drawings at all about this, which means that they are telling us that no compensation will be paid. For many of us, I'm certain that if they stick within the 50 feet to the left and 50 feet to the right, many people will not be affected. The cry is against the 100 feet and even beyond 150 feet we hear. No one has contacted us.
Well, they've given you a 1 month timeline,
yes,
correct? So is there anything you are doing? Are you taking maybe legal action? Are you going to stage a full stage protest? What are you going to do to protect your homes and your livelihoods?
For many of us, we think we have acquired these lands legally because we have indentures from the chiefs, we have site plans, we are processing our permits. So it's going to be a hard battle. We're not going to sit down for them to believe that there's law in Ghana, we are in a democracy, and we should all respect the law. If they say 50 feet, fine. Those who are within the 50 feet, they have problems. But to go beyond the 50 feet is going to be very fiercely resisted.
First, the demarcation was 50 feet from the rail line. Now they have extended the demarcation to 100 feet. It will destroy people's houses and businesses. As for me, I don't want this kind of project at Bediako.
I'm a retiree, 76 years old. Now I have 30 people living in my house. What I did was I gave 50 feet. And now they are saying 100. That 100, the whole building is going.
But the DCE of Pong Katamanso, Samuel Teteapia, says the residents have nothing to fear.
So we want to sit down as quickly as possible to be able to call for this situation so that we know the legitimate people who we need to assist. I wanted to talk to EDC because there are this affordable housing which is in the home district. If the genuine people could be assisted, if we pay whatever. If we come into compromise by giving some people reasonable compensation and then they want to settle as quickly as possible, we could go for the housing. And actually, the project is 36 months. So within 6 months, they could get some of them to be evacuated to the affordable housing.
That's cold comfort to the residents who have seen the many pillars erected to demarcate where the construction will take place. Now, if all goes according to plan, from October, the Tema-Akosombo railway line will be constructed. And what this means for residents of Saki, Bethlehem, Srebrepo, and so many others living along the community is that the bells that told the arrival of trains could also be the bells that toll the end of the livelihoods and businesses that they've had here for over 5 decades. For Joy News, I'm Jennifer Kwame.
Days after several nursing and midwifery groups demonstrated at the Ministry of Health demanding postings, the ministry has directed heads of the various public nursing training institutions to reduce their intake for September admissions. The public's reaction to the decision has been mixed, but as president of the Nurses and Midwifery Council, Dr. Krobia Sante explains, the new quota system will facilitate more effective training of nursing students.
So once we reduce the quota, it will be easy for the health training institutions to manage the numbers that they have taken when we juxtaposition the number that apply for the training institutions and then the infrastructure that is available at the health training institutions. We're having to manage large numbers. In fact, over the years, for the past 5 years, whilst we had the inadequate infrastructure to deliver the education. And so what we're saying is that once these measures are put in place and schools are able to admit according to the capacity of the infrastructure architecture, we should be able to manage the numbers so that the situation where students will have to, teachers will have to use microphones to do their teaching, and then the libraries that are not adequately equipped, classrooms are not adequate, teachers are not there. And there has been situations where even in the private institutions, the private institutions have had to rely on public sector health training institutions to have teachers undertake part-time teaching in their institutions. We believe that this will not inure to the benefit of the vision that the Ministry of Health is pursuing with regards to the production of nurses and midwives.
Dr. Krobia adds that the policy is in line with the directive from the Nurses and Midwifery Council on ensuring that these institutions produce highly qualified nurses as well as reduce the large nurses to patient ratio we have in our country.
It is the Mandarin Association that started addressing the question of nurse-patient ratio, which for the past 1.5 years has stayed up to 1:22. And therefore, we said that there was the need for more nurses to come into the profession, but not in the way that we're seeing it. Because the matter that we were addressing was that we had a good number of nurses and midwife graduates who didn't have employment, and so government must employ them. This gap we seek to bridge. We can start with government employing the numbers now that don't have the job. As I speak to you, we have close to 12,000 nurses from both public and private health training institutions that don't have employment. So that is where we can start with when we undertake these pragmatic measures to bridge the nurse-patient ratio gap.
And that's it for the latest news updates we have. We have a lot more news. We have a couple of the newspapers in the studio, so we'll be looking at them very soon. But in the meantime, also, we'll look at some of the latest stories as published on the various online portals.